I just shared in the chat screen the image, an image of the Zoom information for those of you who would like to participate with the teachings that is happening tomorrow. Khenchen Rinpoche just started a short series teaching Vietnamese students. It will start the same time as this program, which is 9 a.m. New York time, but it ends actually earlier. It's a 2-hour, and this is going to be tomorrow, Sunday. This is a 4-part series. Part 1 was done last Sunday, and then part 3 and 4 is going to be the first 2 Sundays in January, in the new year. Yeah, so after tomorrow's class, there will be a break until the first 2 Sundays in January. Be on a lookout for more online teachings that Rinpoche will be doing. The Drigung Kagyu Dharma Circle in Wisconsin is working with another group. And so please, I think Linda had shared an email address that you can email to if you want to receive information. If Linda, you can share that in the chat again, I think that would be very helpful. So all of you can write to that email, and then when the new series, new program is figured out, then Rinpoche's programs you will receive. Then also there is currently an ongoing program that Rinpoche is doing on Wednesday. Likewise, if you want information on that, if you write to that email address that Linda is providing on the chat group, on the chat window, she can email you that information. That is a series that Rinpoche has been doing with students in Germany. Yeah, so that's some information. And so now we can start again. Rinpoche is back. And if Linda can help to unmute Rinpoche. It's good. Now it's good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lai.
Sure. Oh, and one more thing is we found the recording of Rinpoche's chants. Angela in Sweden very kindly sent me those files. Oh. And so we are in the process of preparing these to put on Rinpoche's YouTube channel. So there is a YouTube channel that we created with Rinpoche's knowledge. If you go to YouTube and look for a channel that is called Khenchen Konjo Gyaltsen Rinpoche, you should be able to find that channel. Of course, already on YouTube, there are many recordings of Rinpoche teaching in different places. And so it's scattered all over YouTube, but we have also created a channel for Rinpoche with cooperating with the group in Indonesia, the Drigong Atisha Center. They have the whole set of teachings that Rinpoche gave many years ago on the jewel ornament of liberation. And so they are slowly, weekly kind of releasing different portions of that. Then as well as all the teachings that Rinpoche has been doing through the Drigong Kagyu Foundation, we are also putting it on that channel. So I want to encourage any of the other centers, if you all are hosting Rinpoche, whether in Zoom times or post-pandemic, we encourage you to send us that any recording so that we can post on Rinpoche's YouTube channel. So that they are all more or less in one place. That will be easier for people to try to keep track of and go back and review the different teachings that Rinpoche has given. Yeah, so.
Thank you. Oh, Banda Sato Samaya, Mano Palaya. Sato Tenoba, Dida Dedo Membawa, Sudu Kayo, Subu Kayo Membawa, Anorata Membawa, Sarwa Sedeme Brayada, Sarwa Karma Sudame, Tedana, Shreya, Guru Hung. Ha, Bhagawana, Zawada, Dangada, Bedrama, Monza, Barzemba, Ma Samaya Sado. Okay, now please refresh our motivation. We are studying these PEAT instructions, teachings, which are very profound and has a vast meaning. So we do this study and practice to attain complete enlightenment, Buddhahood, for the benefit of all sentient beings. It's not just now this like for the benefit of sentient beings, it just becomes a ritual. It's like a culture, you know. Everybody's talking about these things, but very few practitioners have the meaning inside mind. So here we should try to bring this in our mind, replace these mental afflictions, self-cherishings. So when we say release the self-cherishing, doesn't mean don't eat, don't wear clothes, shouldn't have a place to live. Of course, as long as we have this physical body, we need a food, a place to live, and clothes to wear. But mentally cultivate, generate such a that precious mind to achieve complete enlightenment. And when we say for the benefit of sentient being means it is a condition. We need sentient beings to cultivate loving kindness and compassion. We need sentient beings to attain Buddhahood, to practice the 6 paramitas. Like for example, when we practice generosity, we need sentient beings to give things. We need sentient beings to practice the patience. We need sentient beings to keep our moral ethics. We need sentient beings so that we exercise our perseverance for the benefit of sentient beings and to attain the Buddhahood. So all the way, sentient beings are very important factor to practice our bodhicitta. Sometimes, of course, we have a kind of shortcoming. So look at this, our shortcoming, and purify those and extend our practice. So that's what means practice, So when we say, as I mentioned, for the benefit of all sentient beings, it's not just a ritual, but as a living, as how we live our life every day basis. Okay, this is just reminding to refresh our mind. Now, next is this one. The summary of the 5 aspects of the uncontrived Mahamudra of glorious Saraha as taught. They need talk to Parpuwa. P-A-R. Maybe need that one, Parpuwa. So here, uncontrived, I don't know, this here uncontrived is, of course, we go to step by step. There's have a different word translation could be. I haven't found yet. Now, anyway, we go through this. In the words of the great Brahmin Saraha was a great Brahmin. He was the teacher of Nagarjuna. You know, when Nagarjuna, when he was 7 years old, then through the astrology, through many, say he will not live more than 7 years. So his parents took him to Nalanda. No, maybe there's some chance. So there he met Saraha. So Saraha gave him Amitayu's long life Buddha's empowerment. And from there he extended his life for many years. And Saraha also initiated all the Buddhist teachings, especially Mahamudra, so that how Nagarjuna became so famous. It's because of the Saraha. So there's a Brahmin Saraha. So here's a Mahamudra, here aspects of uncontrived Mahamudra. So what is Mahamudra? So Mahamudra is birthless. Means your own awareness, your uncontrived mind is Mahamudra, is unborn or birthless or unborn. Means it doesn't come from anywhere. Our mind is disturbed by all these mental afflictions, mental thoughts, I should say, concepts, thoughts. We're thinking about the past, thinking about the future. What's going on now? We're thinking all the time. So our mind is disturbed by this all thoughts, mental afflictions, concepts. But if we let go of these all concepts, thoughts, afflictions, then that mind itself is scar, unborn, uncontrived. That is the Mahamudra. See, it's your mind. Once you realize you are unborn mind, all these concepts, thoughts are within that dimension. They manifest, the concepts, thoughts, perceptions, afflictions, they manifest from within that mind and dissolves into that mind. So what we need first to understand this. And then we need some practice on this, experiencing, just we said, experience, see that nature. And then these mental afflictions, as I mentioned, they manifest, they dissolve. Like a cloud manifests from sky, dissolved into the sky. This cloud has no other place to go, only dissolved into the space. Like the waves of the oceans, all the waves, like tornadoes, those things, powerful things, manifest from the ocean and they dissolve into the ocean. There's no place to go. So all our mental afflictions, they manifest, they dissolve into the mind. But when we are not introduced this, when we are lacking the wisdom, especially inside this, then we have dualistic thought, duality. good and bad, right and wrong. And then through this dualistic dimension, we suffer and we create the karma, this karma. Then karma brings all the results, different types of results. So that makes the samsara, you know. So look at this, you know. So we have to have the wisdom to see this special insight, not just wisdom, special insight. It's a critical insight. Then we have to have the courage, nerve to know how to manipulate these mental afflictions. They're just a manifestation. Through their strength, these mental afflictions that don't have much power because their nature is emptiness, because they are just manifestation. They can't go too far. But when we don't have the wisdom, courage, they are so powerful. They will dominate our life and we suffer helplessly. So that's why, as I mentioned, the teachings that Buddha taught are so important. There's no any other in the universities. There are so many universities in the world, you see. They will teach you how to practice, the play of the politics. They teach you how to do business. They teach you all the science, mathematics, technologies, all the mechanical things. But there's very little will teach you how to relate to your mind, how to purify your mind. See? So when somebody teaches, somebody says, teach to purify your mind means something's wrong, or something's wrong with you. What do you mean purify mind? See, maybe there's some psychological problem, You see. So you see, so there are very few. So these teachings passed down by Buddha. Because see, in the world, the suffering is there. And how to minimize the suffering, relate to the mind. So it's very important. Mahamudra is birthless, means all your mental afflictions, they exist nowhere. So it's birthless, it's unborn. It's just a manifestation. So here now I'll go through these. Whatever I can say few words. These are such a profound. I don't have much ability, but try. Oh yeah, this, in the words of the great Brahmin said, Mahamudra is birthless, okay, unborn. So then after that said, resting the state of the uncontrived is the Dhammakaya. So again, you see, Dhammakaya is not somewhere out there in the space or another country. Dhammakaya is within us. So when we know how to rest in the Mahamudra, so that is Dhammakaya. See, resting in the state of uncontrived, Maju, is the Dharmakaya. When all the mental thoughts, first when we practice this, all the mental thoughts are dissolved into that emptiness of the mind, because mind itself is emptiness. Dissolve into that. There's no direction, east, south, north. There's no up and down. It's all pervading nature. That's called free from elaboration, simplicity. So that's itself is Dharmakaya. So when we have a skill to meditate on this, when we know how to relate to this mind in that way, so that's called Dharmakaya. So as a beginner, this, as earlier mentioned, all the preliminaries, these are very important to start with. We need more purification. More we purify, that gives us special quality of the mind to see things more precisely, and we can relate to that. But let's go first, Then there's more places to explain this. See, whether walking, moving, laying down, or sitting, always rest your 6 senses naturally. When the 6 senses rest naturally, great bliss is unceasing. See, now he has mentioned, you see, the 6 senses. There's related to that. First, there's 6 objects. The form is the object of the eye. Sound is the object of the ear. Odor or smell is the object of the nose. Taste is the object of the tongue. And touching clothes is the object of the body. And then all the phenomena is the object of the mind. So these 6 objects and 6 called subject. So our life is so much involved into these 6 objects, you see. In the samsara, you see this. Oh, we have to see how to be good looking, very attractive, and sound, beautiful sound, voice, good fragrance, smell, touch, smooth, good clothes, and mentally, how much we can attach to have the mind, to have peace. So everybody in the world are involved in this. So it's called elaboration. We elaborate as much as we can, physically, so to make everything better. Sound, how to make sound better. Good smell, good taste. Even you have to put chemicals to have a good taste, smell, and clothes. So look at these things. But then through the reality study, this all just manifestation. very beautiful things can become ugly. So that beautiful itself is not exist because it changes. It changes to the different shape. So when we know it changes, we cannot rely on that. We cannot attach to that and make the mind more relaxed. Not so much involved in there. So when your mind is more relaxed, everything is just a manifestation. What you see, like the beautiful flower, you just compose it. And just when you composed or trashed means it's no longer good. So that very beautiful, has a good looking, has a fragrance, all these good qualities there, that itself changes. I'm not saying everything is bad, but just look at this, be practical, be realistic about these things. And then when we know how to relax, they come and go. They manifest and they dissolve. No? So when these things there, so say no, six senses naturally, see, when the six senses rest naturally, see, then whatever you see, hear sound, somebody praises you, oh, you are so wonderful, you are so great. And somebody says, oh, you are so awful. In both cases, there's just an echo. Don't make so much importance on that. Just your mind relax, seeing the sound as an echo, seeing the form as just a manifestation. Likewise, smell, taste, all this, then there's a peace. That's what's called great bliss in unceasing. Then when your mind is free from these, how to say, a liberation, where we liberate our mind outside. Instead, just make your mind free. Don't be slave by this. Rather, know how to relax. And there's a great joy. Means there's peace. When there's a peace, when your mind is so peaceful, then there's a great joy. So it's called unceasing. So that peace is not a conditional. It's unconditional because you know how to relax your mind in the unborn nature of the mind. See? So that's what it means, So this all you see Mahamudra teaching. What you see in our daily life. Now it's here, since it is here, and also many of you have received the Mahamudra teaching from many great teachers. This is just reminding, to reinforcing how it should be. And so this is what is said here now. This is the meaning of what the master of the bygone times taught. It is the self-arising and spontaneously present, you see. all the great masters from Buddha, Saraha, Nagarjuna, Asanga, from there, from our lineage, Telopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa taught these teachings, how to free ourselves from the samsara. We are not taught how to free from samsara. We are taught how to make samsara deeper, more profound, which will come down, So here is giving us teaching how to free from samsara, how to relax. Now next is here, the 5 point of Mahamudra teaching that Saraha taught. The 5 aspects of this uncontrived mind are, now, uncontrived affliction, uncontrived afflictive emotions, and conceptual thoughts. It's the mode of being of 3 realms of samsara. So here, uncontrived is not what we call Mahamudra uncontrived. Here, uncontrived means fresh mental affliction. So I don't know if uncontrived is good or not, translation. But uncontrived afflictive emotion means very fresh mental affliction or attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy, the ignorance. This is so fresh. And we suffer because of this. So it's a conceptual thoughts. It's the mode of being of the 3 realms of samsara. Oh, this is so important, 3 realms, as I mentioned, the desire world, form world, formless world. These are the 3 worlds or realms in the samsara. This divided into 6 realms. So samsara is the dimension. The beings are within the state of all the mental afflictions. We are suffering because of these fresh mental afflictions. When desire, attachment manifests, then we enslaved by this. When the anger manifests, the hatred manifests, we are enslaved by this. And we suffer, you see. And then in the 6 realms, we are suffering. Without looking inside the mind, we look outside. How I can fulfill my attachment. How I have to satisfy my anger, my hatred. So pride, jealousy, so forth, all the mental afflictions we have. Every day we're working hard to satisfy them. And more nowadays, there's so many things are producing. Every day, every month, every year, there's something new. There's a lot of products to satisfy our mental afflictions. And to satisfy these mental afflictions, we have to go under so much great hardship. And at the end, they are not satisfied. Still, we need more and more. And then there's a lot of corruptions. You see, corruptions everywhere because of this greeds. The greeds are just mental affliction. But nobody taught us, or they don't teach us how to reduce these mental afflictions. But they teach us how to increase these mental afflictions. It's good for your economic business in the world. So the samsara is designed. It's designed in such a way to, to increase, to develop these mental afflictions. So there's more suffering. And there's a war, fighting. There's a famine. There's different disease. All pandemic, this all manifests out of these mental afflictions. You see? So this is real, we have to work hard. It's also very sensitive, you see, because everyone has the ego. When we touch the ego, it's very sensitive. We have to be very careful how to handle these things, how to teach. So we need such a love, compassion, and wisdom. Love and compassion without wisdom, it doesn't go too far. It's very limited. So wisdom is always very important. Wisdom, we need to understand the causality, or the function of the causality. It's not as a religious belief, it's how the world is functions. Then we need a wisdom how to reduce these cause of suffering. And then we need such wisdom to see their nature as emptiness. So we release all these mental afflictions and minimize the suffering. So this is what is here saying, the uncontrite or touched, not touched, not purified, afflictive emotions and conceptual thoughts, all mental activities. First, we need mental thoughts, conceptual thoughts. From there comes these mental afflictions. So all in the Madhyamika Avatara mentioned, all these ordinary sentient beings, the samsara, are bound by these mental conceptual thoughts. And we create such a great karma, cause, I should say cause. Depending to the level of the karma, cause, then there comes generally 6 realms. But within the 6 realms, look at the human beings. Human being is generally one of the realm. But how many different types of human beings there are? There's so many. Some are so rich, super rich. Some even don't have a food to eat today, starving to death. Some they're so rich, look at the closet, how many clothes are there. Every day you have to change something. And some don't have one piece of cloth to wear. So look at these, just in the human realm. So in the animal realm, look at there. So just these are very important first to start our Dharma study practice. Then, so you see how these samsaras function. Develop loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta. From there, then we start our journey, how to free from samsara. See? So this first is, Saraha is saying this is the first. No? Uncontrived means here in this case, not uncontrived or mudra, but fresh color, a fresh mental afflictive emotions and conceptual thoughts. It's the mode of being of three realms of samsara. Now the second one said, uncontrived, good temporary meditative experiences is the cause of rebirth in the, not in the highest, I should say, maybe should say higher God realms. This means some are doing some meditation, karma abiding, shamatha, and have a good meditation, calm, peaceful. It's experience, it's mentioned here, it's experience, meditative constant experience, like clear, mind is very clear. It doesn't have much thoughts. It doesn't mean you realize Mahamudra, but your thoughts are very little. And so kind of blissful. So these are the experiences, one to reborn in the samadhi called Rupa Dhatu, form world and formless world. Even who keeps the 10 virtues, practicing the 10 virtues, avoiding the 10 non-virtues are also cause to be born in the higher realms, the desire world, human beings and desire God realms. See? So we anyway encourage, avoid the 10 non-virtues, practice the 10 virtues. This is nothing to do with the religion. Even in the world, you see, anywhere, everywhere you go, one who's not taking life, not stealing, not engaged in sexual misconduct, everybody appreciate that individual. Everybody will see that person as such a genuine and good person. No? Even who doesn't believe in a religion, they trust that person, you see. So it is not a religious training. It's something that's working on the cause for peace and harmony, see. So that said, uncontrived, good, temporary, meditative experience. So it's just natural. Here saying uncontrived, not just uncontrived, naturally, you know. Naturally, see, you know, it's a cause, a temporary, good temporary state to achieve that meditative experience. It's okay. It's the cause of rebirth in the higher God realms. Uncontrived nature of the samsara, the third one, is to abide within nirvana. This means like Sharavaka, Patak Buddha, who has such a great meditative state. Mind is calm, peaceful, and realize the selfless nature itself. So this we can say uncontrived nature of the mind. Uncontrived the nature of the mind itself. It's not exist, the self, ego. It's the mind itself is free from the ego. So when we know how to meditate that, free from the ego, self-grasping, is uncontrived mind. That's not only Sharavaka, Patik Buddha, but also is the basis for Bodhisattva. This is to free from samsara, to achieve the arhats. Uncontrived nature of the mind is to abide within the nirvana. Just resting. This nirvana is not the final nirvana, Buddhahood, but partial nirvana. So to do these practices, in the jewel ornament of liberation mentioned, you see, first we follow the path of accumulation, and then path of preparation. See, to do that, first you see, need the 4 mindfulnesses. The mindfulness of body, the mindfulness of feeling, the mindfulness of mind, the mindfulness of phenomena. This means, look at our body, it's so impermanent. See? The day when we are born, now we are getting old. How much difference there? Changing. Our body exists within that delusion. But we're grasping our body, this is my body. We cherish so much. We sacrifice all things for this body. Look at this, How much we endure the suffering to keep our body fresh. But at the end, we have to leave this body behind. So we should use this body as a tool to practice Dharma, not as a tool for the suffering, but as a foundation to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. So this, we need that wisdom. When we don't have the wisdom, the self-grasping, this body with the 5 skandha, look at, sometimes we have so much suffering without sleep that I went through, and how much I suffer to get a good sleep because this body, So I should use my body as Dharma to practice Dharma. not as a basis of suffering and a cause of suffering. So it is a mindfulness of body. Mindfulness of feeling, you see. We have good feeling, bad feeling, neutral feeling. How much we pay attention, how to feel good. How much we go through so much suffering, how to free from the feeling of suffering, bad feeling. Look at this mindfulness of feeling. And mindfulness of mind, how the mind is so unpredictable. Our own mind, like I cannot judge my own mind. I want my mind to be peaceful, but it goes so different direction. Sometimes it collects all the garbage of the mental affliction. So I should be very mindful about my mind. And then mindfulness of phenomena. All the phenomena is changing. Now this day, I'm in medicine, Wisconsin medicine. We have a lot of snow here now. And cold. No, but not that very cold it used to be. But still, because of snow. But I heard in the East Coast, a lot of snow, freezing. So like this, there are some places so hot, raining, some are so dry. So how much did all the outer phenomena keep changing that? What we see, what we hear, what we smell. So we go through these, meditate, achieve the karma abiding, step by step. And then after going through these, avoiding the 10 non-virtues, collecting the 10 virtues, go through these, then there comes meditative state. And after that, we achieve the preparation or application. Then the meditation becomes very familiar, easier to meditate. Understanding of emptiness comes closer. The shamatha is very good. Our mental afflictions are suppressed, not purified, suppressed. Mental afflictions are not as strong as used to be. So go through this. And then after that comes the special insight, third path. That time one realizes the emptiness, nature of the self. The self is nothing but is empty. So then there one's called nirvana. Cross the border of the samsara and achieve the nirvana. Then, of course, in Arahat, or the Buddha, they go through more trainings and achieve the Arahats. Because then they are the partial nirvana they achieve. You see, that's called uncontrived nature of the mind is to abide within nirvana. Now the fourth is uncontrived non-duality of samsara and nirvana. It's the unity of learning of the Mahayana. See, this is related to Bodhisattva. And Bodhisattva, as earlier mentioned, go through these two paths. Then third path of meditation. Path of meditation from first bhumi to the 10th bhumi is called the learning of the Mahayana. there one practices all the teachings, especially bodhicitta, you know, these 10 paramitas. So when one realizes the first bhumi, the great joy, Ratakava, see, then very nature of samsara itself is nothing but empty. So it's called non-duality. Not perfected in the realization, but realized as a non-duality. No? So the learning is now, so just for example, the 10 parameters. First, practice of generosity, giving the wealth if one has. Basically, Milarepa said, when our mind is free from clinging, grasping, that itself is practice of generosity. We practice generosity to give means make the mind free. So from there, practice generosity. And then second, moral ethics. All the morality, in the Vinaya, the the lay people's precepts, and novice monks, nuns, and full ordain. Then there are also bodhisattvas, moral ethics, Vajrayana, moral ethics, all the moralities, practices are studied and kept well. This is the foundation a practitioner to achieve Buddhahood. Here comes, everybody knows the three trainings, the training of the morality, the training of the shamatha, samadhi, the training of the special insight. So then in the third part or bhumi is called, light shining, is the practice of the patience. And that bodhisattvas study Buddha's teaching so much, looking for great teachers and receive all the teachings and practice the patience. The mental, the different types of patience, you see. When one faces difficult to meditate, they will need patience. Means kind of bear the difficulties. Sometimes difficult to meditate, or hardship, difficult to understand the Dharma teachings. And then mental afflictions like anger, hatred, we have to deal with this, purify this. Then fourth, Yotoa, radiant. There makes such great perseverance. Enjoy the Dharma practice. Sometimes one faces obstacles. There one enjoys the perseverance. Go through these obstacles, not taken away by the obstacles, rather obstacles are solved. So perseverance, you see. The fifth is called Jankawa, difficult practice. Means Our mental afflictions are not easy to handle. The habit that we are so used to, millions and millions of lifetime. So when the afflictive emotions manifest, we feel they are so natural. But in reality, they are contrived. But it's habit. So to purify that habit is not easy. But that Bodhisattva has every ability to purify that mental afflictions, once and others. Then the sixth bhumi is called Ngundu Jirwa. Obvious, clear, means now the wisdom, special insight that realized at the first bhumi becomes more obvious. Has a power to see now directly. No separation of samsara and nirvana. Has a great ability to benefit other sentient beings. See, so then the seventh is called far gone, means now gone from the first sixth bhumi, to the seventh is now only great bodhisattvas. Is far gone means now the Sharavakas, the Partibuddhas cannot reach to that great bodhisattva's level. Has such a great skill, the skill of the meditation. The mind is so powerful, so profound. The profundity of the mind is more touching to the basic, to the depth of that. Of course, not fully perfected, but it's going there. Then eighth bhumi is called Myowa, unmoving, means mental conception, precepts that cannot move that meditation. Now the meditation is very powerful. Both conceptual thoughts, non-conceptual thoughts, equally cannot disturb that mind. So the practice is called, the aspiration, means the bodhicitta that have started from the first path of accumulation, now growing faster, deeper, and then bodhisattva, that bodhicitta, fully now kind of ripen. The aspiration prayers are so powerful. Molang, the perfection of the aspiration. The ninth bhumi is called Topje Porchim. Top is called. The ninth bhumi, the practice is called the perfection of the power, ability. All the maras, now that bodhisattvas can overcome all the different maras. There are basically four maras. Mara of the skanda, affliction, devata, and the death. We are all so much afraid of death, you see. Why should I die? What should I do when I die? There's so much fear. The Bodhisattva has no any fear now. It's achieved the fearlessness. It's called power. That kind of perfection of the power. And the 10th bhumi is the Bodhisattva to achieve, it's called the practice the perfection of the primordial wisdom. Means now this our mental affliction that we have itself is nothing but primordial wisdom nature. So there's, as earlier mentioned, the non-duality. So the mental affliction itself is nothing but primordial wisdom, so it's a non-duality. So that was called learning, you see, the uncontrived non-duality of samsara and nirvana is the unity of the learning of the Mayana. Okay. Then the last one, the wisdom, now the uncontrived, Mahamudra. In the end, or at the final, maybe, ultimate, the uncontrived, beyond conceptual mind is the self-arising and spontaneously present. You see now? Beyond conceptual mind means all the conceptual thoughts are now settled. It's the Buddhahood. The leftover imprint of creations are fully purified. All your mind is directly, now we should say, perceived or realized. So that's why the conceptual mind is beyond, it's all beyond, means beyond in our ordinary mind, Buddhahood. So that we have to look in our own mind. As I mentioned, Buddha is not outside somewhere else, but Buddha is within oneself. That we realize that our own mental afflictions is nothing but primordial wisdom. The very, our garbage is such a precious to grow a beautiful flower. The composed one, the trashed, composed, that is so important to grow a beautiful flower, fruit, tree. So without that, cannot grow a beautiful flower. So without our mental affliction, there's no wisdom to manifest. So the great bodhisattvas, more there's mental afflictions, then it's a fuel to realize that enlightened mind. We enlighten from within the delusion. So delusion itself is nature of the enlightenment. See? So what we need is that wisdom to understand. Then we need the courage to follow the path. Then we need the dedication to perfect the practice. So that's why it's called every sentient being is pervaded by the Buddha nature. You see, the milk is pervaded by the butter, but one has to have a wisdom. So there's a butter in the milk. Then one needs the kind of skill how to produce the butter. Then one needs the courage, effort to do how to produce the butter from the milk. When all these are combined, one can produce the butter from the milk. Likewise, we can now achieve Buddhahood through these practices. So you see, It's such, even though Sarah had taught this, but Jigte Sungun explains so beautifully, step by step, following the path. That we all have the way how to do these things. That's why, it's the self-arising. See, the enlightenment is not coming from outside. Your own mind, all whatever is rising, manifesting, itself is nothing but wisdom, self-arising. And spontaneous, see, there's no need any effort. It's just spontaneous, effortlessly manifests. That's what's called non-conceptual thought. Non-conceptual thoughts, all conceptual thought is nothing but nature of the wisdom. It's spontaneous. It's effortlessness. See? Then there you see in which benefit of others effortlessly arise, you see. So oneself is now well, or we should say accomplished one's own benefit through these practices. So now to benefit other sentient beings, no effort. Effortlessly benefit sentient beings. It's the ultimate result of the no more learning. So the perfection, the last, the no more learning path, the path of the perfection. When one achieves the Buddhahood, one becomes the Buddha. So I hope you all got some benefit from these teachings. As I mentioned, don't take as a religion. This is how to achieve the benefit for oneself. How to achieve benefit for all others. This is not just a belief system. This is a practical approach. So all the Lord Jesus' teachings are like that. He talked in a way to transcend all the dogmatic system. Even with Buddhists, many great scholars will explain you, this is this system, this is the South Tantrika system, this is the Chitta Mantra system, this is that, They will teach you all these different systems. They believe this, he believed that, he, she believed that, These all are just dogmatic system. Lord Jesus could teach us fresh. We just follow step by step. Transcend all these dualistic thoughts. But we have to be very practical. Because, as I mentioned, the causality, we cannot ignore the causality. Emptiness cannot transcend the causality, because the causality itself is nature of the emptiness. Like in the space, you see, the space itself is empty. But within the space, all things are contained, you see, good and bad. All the garbage systems within in the space. All the medicines are within in the space, you see. Whatever cause we created, result manifests. That's reality. That's why it's called infallible. So we have to be very careful about this. Don't be so rigid. You should say, Kyobpa said, you enjoy Dharma. Don't be too rigid. Enjoy the Dharma and relax your mind. At the same time, aware the causality, he said. No. So where we are enjoying the Dharma, we don't jump into the cause of suffering. So that's very important. So enjoy the Dharma, no? It's our own benefit and benefit of the others. So that's where we all need effort, support each other to maintain these precious teachings so that other people can have opportunity to study, practice. Slowly, slowly, people can get it. No, if we treat it as a doctrine, as a belief system, it may not last so much. But if we know this, how to live our life, how much Dharma can benefit us, how much we can bring the Dharma in the society, the peace and happiness, then people will take the responsibility, will enjoy. No, we have to have the shared responsibility. It's not just one person's responsibility. Having said that, first is the teacher, the head of the teacher lineage has a big responsibility to share this wisdom to others. This is what Buddha said. This is what Lord Jigten Sumgun conveyed, Buddha's teaching. And then the practitioners, followers, take the responsibility. And then Dharma can really benefit sentient beings. We can have real joy, you see. These mental afflictions that we have, as I mentioned, no, we cannot tell them, so I don't want my mental afflictions. Go away, you know. You cannot say that. If you say that, they are stronger, you know. What do you mean? This is my place, I want to stay, you know. All this, the head of the great Lama say to his student, you know, you have a lot of mental affliction, you know, get rid of them, you know. You cannot order that way. But you have this master should teach skillfully how to reduce mental afflictions. See? This is one of the very important points. You know, sometimes the teacher is really upset. You have a lot of mental afflictions, you know. Get rid of all those things, you know. So, how you can do that, you know? So the teacher should teach skillfully, you know, how to reduce the attachment, how to reduce anger, hatred, and delusions. No? Instead, no, instead of developing these mental afflictions. So that's the responsibility of the teacher and responsibility of the Dharma practitioner, followers. Then in the society, when we do that, people will really appreciate. Instead of teaching, repeat this mantra this much, then you will get benefit, you know. So, you do this sadhana that much, no, and you will get benefit. I think it's very difficult. No, as other day, one chapter finished, you know, enlightenment is achieved through the accumulations of merit and wisdom, not through suffering, you see. We have enough suffering, but we're not enlightened, you know. sometimes suffering torture us, but we are not enlightened, you know. But we can achieve enlightenment through the wisdom, through the skillful method, how to handle things well. Okay, so those of you who did not understand, I request you to please have another look. So it means repeat again and again. If you don't understand, study many times, practice many times, one after another, without losing your interest, devotion to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So I hope you got some benefit. If there's some questions, Dr. Lai, what do you think?
Sure, we can take a couple of questions.
How we are doing time-wise?
We are past time, but that's okay.
That's okay, doesn't matter. No. Yeah. That's a good thing.
We can take one or two questions.
Yes.
So you can unmute yourself now. We have made it possible. So please, if you have question, go ahead.
Oh, 141.
Please go ahead.
I have one small question.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of the last bhumi, the 10th bhumi?
It's called the cloud.
Cloud.
Dharma cloud. Cloud. Dharma cloud. Yes, maybe I've not mentioned that. Sorry about that.
Can you hear me?
The practice is called premortal wisdom. Okay.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Khenchen La.
Yes, you enjoy?
The teachings are wonderful.
Okay.
Bonnie said it's like you're dropping jewels into our laps.
Okay.
I have a question regarding appearances as mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
here. I have great confidence in objects that appear before me are contrived, they're impermanent, they're compounded, they don't have any real inherent existence. It's just a label that we give objects. How can I transfer that confidence that I have in objects to my own thoughts and the words of others that appear to me?
Yes, first of all, we should have a wisdom that it is all appearance in the mind, objects, a reflection of our karma, reflection of our own habit. Having said that, it's not easy to see that directly because we are not yet out there to experience that. But in the mind, through the analysis, through your understanding, good or bad is your reflection. Something you like it. If you have good relation, you like it because you have that kind of perception. When you don't like that object, then you feel bad about it. Not good. You're feeling not good about it because your perception. You see. So that's why I say appearance is a mind. Just to get a glimpse.
Thank you.
I have a question, Ricochet.
Yes.
I'm reading the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, and what puts me off a little bit about the boomies is, for instance, it says after the first one, the thing about distinctive birth, a bodhisattva who abides by this bhumi will usually become a monarch over the Jambudvipa and will dispel obscurations of miserliness and sentient beings. It makes me feel like the attainment is so hard to attain. Who knows that I will ever become a monarch? It doesn't make sense to me. And then the abilities that they describe, you know, that the Buddhas, they will, he can move hundreds of world systems, proceed to 100 different Buddha fields, manifest 100 different worlds, and mature 100 different sentient beings. I mean, that seems almost miraculous. It seems almost impossible. Could you explain how an ordinary person attains those bhumis? Because that goal seems unattainable to me. Could you help me with that?
First of all, yes, like me or you have not achieved that bhumi, you know. So since we have not achieved that, it's like impossible. But things you see, everything is illusory nature. Everything depends on the causes and condition. See, when we create the cause and conditions, when we create the cause and it meets the condition, everything becomes possible. See, that's why it's called everything is illusory nature. Everything is a magical nature, you know. So bodhisattvas who trained for eons on this, then who has an opportunity to reborn as a special, like a monarch. Monarch is just example. In the text mentioned, for the benefit of sentient beings, the bodhisattvas can reborn in anywhere, you know. But this is just one example. See, like say, a deer down there, it's impossible to born like you to study Dharma practice. You see. But you are, as a human being, you have the opportunity to study, practice Dharma, you see. So you have collected the karma cause to become this you are, who you are, and got opportunity to study, practice Dharma, you see. So bodhisattvas, all the different levels have that kind of ability because they accumulated enough cause.
Do you mean it's more of an aspirational goal that we shouldn't take it so like literally?
Yeah, aspiration, yeah, goal as mentioned. Our aspiration should be we should cultivate such to attain Buddhahood. See, that's the final, our aspiration that we should cultivate. Then on the way, then you study, practice.
I guess I've always avoided the boomies. I mean, I've read about them, but they seem so distant. They seem so almost impossible to achieve. And there's 10 of them. I mean, even the first one is.
That's, as I mentioned, you know, as I mentioned, like the dog is impossible in your place to study, practice Dharma. See?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good, good.
Tensional, you said that when you relax in meditation, there's great joy from that. Would you say that the meditation practice itself is the best way to relax, to experience that joy?
Yes, you should enjoy your practice. Then go forward.
Rinpoche,
Yes.
the section where you were talking about suffering, illness, unfortunate things that happen to us are an opportunity to practice and develop bodhicitta. Do you have some specific suggestions if something disturbing happens or something harmful? What is the right? What is a suggestion for remembering that and for having the aspiration that other beings be relieved of that suffering? Because when bad things happen, often we're just overwhelmed with our own emotions and afflictions concerning those things.
That's right.
So I'm very curious as to any suggestions you might have on how we can practically affect that idea to use the suffering and difficulties we have to increase bodhicitta.
That's very good questions you ask. And first of all, you see, to have this kind of understanding is not easy, you see. Everybody will not appreciate the obstacles, unfavorable kind of conditions, you know. So in order to appreciate these unfavorable conditions, and mindfulness, as I mentioned, you need a lot of training, understanding, and confidence in the Dharma teachings, you know, even though it's that reality nature. So what we need is, once you have that kind of confidence in the Dharma teachings, yes, Dharma is the real, absolute answer for my all shortcoming. See, once you have that, and Dharma has every possibilities, we get benefit from that to handle all the difficulties now, in the future, you know. So when you have specific obstacles, mental afflictions, that time, of course, first we need mindfulness and awareness. Very important. If you forget, then you are nothing but ordinary, nothing special, you see. It's just we're overwhelmed by obstacles, overwhelmed by mental afflictions, you know, and we go under their control. But if you have the mindfulness and awareness, then to counteract that difficulties, reflect nature of the samsara, reflect of the impermanence, reflect on the causalities, you know. And you just look to all the sentient beings as a practitioner of the bodhicitta. Every sentient beings are suffering so much. They have no choice. Even though they have that much suffering, but they cannot achieve Buddhahood because they don't have wisdom. No, they don't have skill. And here I have this precious Buddha's teaching, the Dharma. I'm so fortunate, despite all the difficulties that I'm facing. No? So then you say, you should feel so fortunate. I'm so fortunate I have these Dharma teachings. With that kind of feeling of appreciation, joy, then you utilize this, as mentioned, how to take advantage. Oh, my mental afflictions that I have, that which I'm going through, suffering, may purify all the mental afflictions of the other sentient beings. It doesn't mean the other sentient beings are purified, but it's your mental training. See, all the difficulties that I'm facing, this may purify all the suffering of the sentient beings. This is how you expand your bodhicitta. No? And then you're utilizing all the garbage as a fuel to develop bodhicitta. As I mentioned, the compost, the garbage, you used to grow beautiful flowers, you know, and fruit trees and there's corns, so forth, you know. So like that, to grow your all bodhicitta, compassion, you know, will grow through these practices. See, then if obstacle comes, mental affliction comes, you have no fear. See, because you have the tool, skill how to utilize them. You know, so you have become more powerful than mental afflictions and obstacles.
Thank you.
Okay.
Rinpoche, I have a question.
Yes, Ellen.
This is a question that's come up a couple of times in a discussion that we're having in our Sangha. Since we can't know for sure what's going on in the minds of other beings in the realms, how can we then definitively
Ellen, we cannot hear you.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Probably about 7 sentences back.
So this is a question that's come up in our Sangha discussion several times. Since we cannot know for sure what's going on in the minds of other beings in other realms, or even in the minds of any being at all, how can we then say definitively that the realms exist per se or as such? For instance, we can't really know what's going on in the mind of the dog or the horse or just in the animal realm, say. So how do we know that those beings aren't experiencing, you know, compassion and so forth? We only infer that from their behavior. So that's my question.
Rinpoche, we cannot hear you.
Now you can
Yes.
hear?
Yes.
That's good. Yes, as you said, we don't know what others are thinking. No. Maybe we don't know others people thinking, you know, in other planets, in other worlds, or even this world. You mentioned like the animals, you know. But we know definitely everybody desire for peace and happiness. Everybody desire to free from suffering. That's the definite, no? Doesn't matter, no? Believer, non-believer, educated, uneducated, rich or poor, animals or even small insects. So that's the definite. So that's why we need to practice the bodhicitta. See, right now, as you mentioned, we are so kind of say our mind is so obscured. No, even I don't know my mind enough. I want the best, but I don't know how to be best, you know. And so slowly, I purify my obscurations step by step. When I know enough myself, then I will know more others. If I don't know when myself, forget it to try to understand others, you know. So important thing is develop bodhicitta as a universal thought, and then focus on the purification of ourselves. Purify all our limitations. No? That's the kind of basic what Buddha taught, you know. You are your leader, Buddha said.
Hi, Kanchan. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
This is Samuel.
Okay, from where?
It's good to hear you.
Yes.
I'm always pleased to hear you talk about the 4 foundations of mindfulness.
Yes.
Because in the Theravada tradition, that's the core teaching of the Buddha.
Oh, yeah, I know now. Yeah, Sammy. Yes, Sammy.
Okay.
Now I understand your voice.
Okay, so mindfulness of the body is clear practically.
Yes.
The other 3 foundations, feelings, mind, and phenomena, are mental. How do you practically delineate the 3? Or do you meditate on the mind, and in the course of meditating on the mind, any of these 3 will arise? Because that's the more practical way it appears to me.
Yes, as I mentioned, you know, mindfulness of feeling. We all have a feeling that we like good feeling, not the bad feeling, you know. But when anything comes as a practitioner, meditation, when feeling comes in the mind, if there's good feeling, don't attach to it. Just say it is impermanent, transitory nature. When bad feeling comes, don't hate that. It's also impermanent. Just your mind just try to remain in neutral. That helps to stabilize the mind, you see. And so that's how feeling is about, just brief. And the mind also, we don't pay attention of our mind, but mind is so fickle, very unsettled. Look at, you know. So look at the mind, so fickle, that gives you understand impermanence is about. Your mind is constantly changing, moment to moment. Even we meditate in shamatha, we think we're meditating in shamatha, but mind is just going, you know. So we have to be mindful about that. So look at the mind itself. It doesn't exist outside, inside, in between. We cannot see it, we cannot touch it. At the same time, it's the foundation of our life. It's the center of all the creativities, you know. So that be mindful about that. See the impermanence of that and illusory nature of that. Phenomena as well, you see the outer phenomena, it's called dharma. All these phenomena keep changing. Like in the summer, beautiful flowers, trees, all this, now snow. All the flowers are gone. Keep changing during the 4 seasons, day and night. Look at this. So that's how it's called contemplation. Contemplate on these 4 mindfulnesses. These are very important It's the foundation to all the Buddhists, not only Theravada, Mahayana also, very important, Vajrayana as well.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Wonderful talking to you.
I know it's wonderful. We met 40 years ago.
Exactly, yes. We met in the 80s, I know. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Same here. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Rinpoche,
Yes.
Rinpoche, I'm TK Ong. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. You are alive?
Yeah, I'm alive.
That's good news. You got it
thanks.
now?
I have a question. The 5 uncontrived mind, from the text, it seems to me like is it supposed to be like a journey, a step by step, like beginning from the first one, the uncontrived afflictive emotion, until the last one, it says in the end, the uncontrived self-learning. Is it supposed to be like a step by step, right? 1 to 5?
Yes, yes. Exactly, yes. You it's correct. You understood.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you are so wise. Very good.
No, it's just my. Thank you so much.
Okay. Neki, yes. What's your question, Neki?
Maybe she accidentally. Hello, Nikki. Do you have a question?
Yeah, she said her camera is broken.
Ah.
Bonnie.
We cannot hear you, Bonnie.
Yes.
If you have to unmute. Yes.
Oh, Rinpoche, I have been so excited to be with you the last 4 weeks.
Oh.
These profound and precious teachings have been so extraordinary. And seeing you and being part of this Sangha has been the best gift to end this 2020. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, and to ask us all to remember to read the prayer to Kunten Zangpo on Monday, because it's the winter solstice.
Okay.
And so we all could read that and remind us of our interconnectedness.
Oh,
so
wow.
Please teach us a lot in the coming months, Rinpoche. Please continue to teach us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie, about your dedication to Dharma. And very wonderful to see you. And thank you so much.
So wonderful to see you. Mwah.
So maybe here it's a good time to conclude.
Okay.
So again, we want to thank Rinpoche for taking time to give us these teachings. This is just hopefully the beginning of more programs. I know that the group in Wisconsin is working on putting on more teachings, and then all of you, if you are part of a center or part of an organization, would like to request more teachings, you all should request from Rinpoche. We have to ask. The teachers cannot throw things at us. This is not how it works. Buddhist tradition, we don't knock on people's doors and ask if they want to receive the Dharma. Buddha says, don't disturb people's minds. So, so the students, the organizations have to request. Then the teacher gets to decide whether we should or should not receive. And we have to trust the teacher too, whether we should or should not receive this or that. But we have to ask, and we have to always ask. So please, I would encourage you all to communicate to Rinpoche and to request teachings. And then the various organizations will work together to make these available. So now we are going to do the dedication. So I'm going to read in English first. Great Vajradhara Tilipa Naropa Marpa Milarepa Dharma Lord Gampopa Pamudrupa and Conqueror Dugumpa, please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessings of all you Kagyu Gurus. By this merit may I achieve the all-knowing state. May all who wander on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating enemies of faults and delusions. By the virtues collected in the 3 times in samsara and nirvana, and the innate virtue, and in the primordially co-emergent mandala of the mind, may we realize the exalted intention of Jigten Gumpo, the indivisibility of the 2 truths in the exalted form of Vajradhara. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. We pray for the excellent health of the Gurus, and may the Guru's supreme life be long. May the Guru's activity spread far and wide, and may we be blessed not to be separated from the Gurus. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, may we and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious awakening. May the teachings of the great Drigumpa Raneshri, the all-knowing Dharma Lord, Master of interdependence, continue to increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Durje chanchen tile naro dang marba mila juje gampo ba pamo druba gyawa drigumba kagyu lama namji drashu sho zonam liye tamche zekbani tomnye nyebe dranam pamche de gega nachi balong trukbayi Sibe sole drowa shu gorde dusum sadang yobege Dune lenke semki gyungur de dene sunzu dorje chamye ku jiden gomba dobra shu chanju semju rembo je make banam ke gyurje keba nyamba meba yang gongne gongdu perwa shu lama kukang sangwa sowa de Chuktu kutse ringwa sowa de chenle dashin keba sowa de lama thang drewa meba jinji lo dadang korde tham cheke dusundu sakpa dang yobe gewe tsawa de dadang senchen tamche nudu lana meba yang labra sobe chanju rinpoche topara gyurji sheja kunse kunkien chokeje Tende nela wanto drigumba rinjen pegi denpa sideba shedru tosan kumbe zingyurji. So now I'm going to ask everybody to unmute and express your thanks to Rinpoche.
Hi, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you,
Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Rinpoche.
Thank you,
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias, thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Muchas gracias, Rinpoche.
Sending lots of love to you.
I went to my phone so I could say hello.
Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Oh,
Thank you, thank you.
Muchas gracias, Rinpoche.
yes, muchas gracias.
Gracias a usted.
Besitos.
Galaxies.
Ah, it's Circle.
Oh, hello,
Yeah, today
Rinpoche.
I'm the galaxy.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yeah, Circle, take care.
¿Y qué tal su hijo?
It's not every day that one can be the galaxy. Thank you, Rinpoche. No?
Thank you very much.
Ah, va. Si quieres, espérate, pero voy a salir a limpiar.
Hello, thank you.
No, no, no.